Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Um, of course, you hear my background. You know. But first, I would like to start off. This is what happens when you do a show and your babysitter is not babysitting. Like I said. So let's start this show off right by this song.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
That's my song.
Happy birthday to dear one.
It's my birthday weekend. I'm sorry. I had a moment. Yes, tomorrow's my birthday. Am I a little excited? Of course, it's football day. And I get to talk about football today. But yeah, let's talk about this weekend. Let's talk about the big news first. Can we talk about the big news first? Because that's, I think, what needs to be talked about. This weekend, this week has been very, very, very interesting, to say the least. And what happened this week with Antonio Brown? Right now, Antonio Brown, well, let's start from earlier in the week. Antonio Brown misses games. The GM was like, we're gonna fine you. So they fined him like $215,000. They fined him because of this whole missing practice because of the helmet issue. And then they were like, bruh, get it together. So he makes some post about it. And then I'm making a short story. So then he apologizes for his actions, sob story. They're like, okay, we're not going to suspend you. We're not going to fine you. Well, we're going to fine you, but we're not going to suspend you because they were thinking about suspending them. So we're not going to suspend you, and you'll play Monday night for us. Okay, that's what happened yesterday afternoon. Last night, he makes a video and puts it on YouTube and says, basically the YouTube video is a conversation between him and Gruden. And Gruden's basically saying, like, get your crap together. We want you to play. You know, you're one of my favorite players, yada, yada, yada. Well, this morning, we get to the nitty-gritty of him posting him posting an Instagram photo saying he wants to be released. And then we find out that he is not only getting fined, but they are taking away his signing bonus. So if you have Antonio Brown on your team, I'm just going to say don't play him. I'm just going to throw that out there from the very beginning. Don't play him. Because they haven't came out and said he's not playing. They haven't came out and said he is playing. And since yesterday and all this has happened, somebody said it's for the Hard Knocks. Well, the Hard Knocks is over, so this is just Antonio being Antonio. But I can't tell you what else it might be, but this is bad. It's all bad. Breaking news. Falcons and star receiver Julio Jones have finalized a multi-year deal extension. This will make him the NFL's highest paid receiver. Minor issues still to work out, but it should be done today. So if you are a Falcons fan, he is definitely playing. He was going to be my next guy to talk about. But yes, Falcons, again, Julio Jones are finalizing a multi-year deal extension. This will make him the highest paid wide receiver, and he deserves it. Play him. I know he's playing against Minnesota, but play him. But let's get right into it of who to play and who not to play. I will say disappointment of the Bears and the Green Bay game, and especially how the Bears hyped up David Montgomery and only gave him 4 touches. I'm very disappointed in that, just due to the fact that I had him in one league. But besides that, the whole run game as a whole looked horrible. Both teams looked horrible, but the whole run game as a unit, and that means him, Mike Davis, and Tariq Cohen, it looked horrible, and I'm very pissed off that the Bears did that. How hype up a run game and then not even use the run game. Um, but let's get into it with, like I stated, we're going to talk about some quarterbacks. Who to start this week? Deshaun plays. I got him number 1 this week. Deshaun at New Orleans. Some people might have it a little bit differently, but I do like this matchup, and I do like what's to come from it. I do think he can terrorize New Orleans defense up, especially now that he has help on the left side. Jameis Winston, Tampa Bay versus San Francisco. That is my second. Good morning, Matt. Number 3 is that I have. Sorry about that. It's Patrick Mahomes versus Jacksonville. Of course, I had to put them up there. It's Pat Mahomes. If he's going to do what he did last season, then yes, he needs to be played. Russell Wilson, Seattle versus Cincinnati. Drew Brees versus Houston. We'll see how that defense looks without Clowney. That's why I have him up there. Carson Wentz, Philadelphia versus Washington. There's a possibility that on certain sites that Carson Wentz is higher. One site has him at 5. I think ESPN has him around 4 or 5. And that's just due to the fact that Washington's defense isn't that scary looking. So I think Carson will have a great game for Philadelphia. Baker Mayfield versus Tennessee at number 7. At number 8, Aaron Rodgers did not do anything, and that was my number 8 for this week was Aaron Rodgers, and I'm so disappointed. But who else do I think is going to be doing good this week is Dak Prescott versus the Giants. Giants defense does not look scary, but again, it's a division game, so you never know. It might look like Thursday night's game, 10-3. Lamar Jackson, Baltimore at Miami. What can I say? I think he's going to terrorize them. Terrorize. Some honorable mentions: Cam Newton at the versus the Rams. Jared Goff at Carolina. Kirk Cousins versus Atlanta. I have Matt Ryan versus Minnesota. Just because the Minnesota's defense is good, I'm still believe in Matt Ryan and what he can do, especially now that Julio's about to get paid. He's about to be on cloud 9 and out there to prove something to everybody. And Phillip Rivers versus Indy. That is my other one. It's the Giants. That's like losing to the Jets. Ha 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 ha. That is true, though. That is true, but the Jets are better than the Giants. So that's so funny that I can say that now. Who to stay away from this week is Joe Flacco at Oakland, Eli versus Dallas, Case Keenum versus Philly, and Ryan Fitzpatrick versus Baltimore. I know we're going to get Fitzmagic, and he might accidentally win. I'm not saying don't pick him up because he's good for at least 6 weeks. We all know that about Fitzmagic. He is good for about 6 weeks, and then that's it. But I just think Baltimore's defense is going to be a little bit too much to handle for him this weekend. Well, tomorrow. When I made my sheet, there was a guy not signed, and then he signed Ezekiel Elliott. So I had to push him kind of in my stat sheet just because he needed to be said, even though he might be on, I think he's on a snap count from what I'm reading. So yes, play him, especially if you're a PPR league standard. I don't think you're going to get the points from him if he is on a snap count from what I am hearing. But my number one is Christian McCaffrey versus the Rams. Two, Saquon Barkley versus Dallas. I have to put him in there because unfortunately there's nothing else going on with the Giants. So I have to put him on there. And number three, Ezekiel Elliott versus the Giants. I was going to put him around number 5. Actually, he's like my 2A. I have them like 2A, 2B. I think to me they're kind of tied. Alvin Kamara versus Houston. Chris Carson, Seattle versus Cincy. I think he's going to have a monstrous game for Seattle. Dalvin Cook versus Minnesota. With Minnesota versus Atlanta. Sorry about that. If Atlanta's defense looks like last year, he's going to terrorize them. If Atlanta's defense, which I know is fully healthy, there's a good chance that they can put a stop on him. But they did average like over 100 yards per game in rushing. And I understand that was partially because of injuries. So Atlanta fans, do not beat me up. But I still think he's going to have a good game against you. Leonard Fournette, Jacksonville versus KC. Leonard Fournette came out and said he's cut friends, he's cut weight. He got the negative issues out of his life. Thank you, Antoine. Excuse me. But he's cut the negative issues out of his life, and I really do think Leonard Fournette is going to terrorize Kansas City. Kansas City's defense was a hit or miss. So I think, on their run game was definitely a miss. So I do think he's going to do good. James Conner, number 8 for Pittsburgh. They play at New England. He's going to have a good game. Nick Chubb, Cleveland versus 10. Tennessee's defense was underrated last year. A lot of people allowed him to skate, like he was skating a lot last year under the radar. That defense was, and they did not pay attention to them. So keep an eye on it, but I still have him at number 9. David Johnson, Arizona versus Detroit. Detroit's defense obviously is not that great, but David Johnson, I need you to step up and step your game up for real. I need you to be the running back that we all fall in love with. And then Le'Veon Bell, New Jersey versus Buffalo. Honorable mentions, Todd Gurley at Carolina. He's not going to be on the snap count. He's going to play fully from what I'm reading, read this morning and read, a couple times. So he should be good to go. I guess he's not in my top 10, but I have to see what he does with that knee before I could put him up there. Mark Ingram at Miami. Sony Michel versus Pitt. Joe Mixon at Seattle. And Kerryon Johnson at Arizona. All round off my honorable mentions. Who are my stay away? Adrian Peterson at Philadelphia, but now I'm reading that he might be a healthy scratch. So if you have Adrian Peterson, please check into it. Check into it. He's playing from right now. I'm seeing that he might be. I'm not saying he is, but he might be a healthy scratch. Jordan Howard versus Washington. Ronald Jones II versus Baltimore. Peyton Barber versus San Francisco, and Kenyon Drake versus Baltimore. I just don't think I have a couple Miami players on there. I just don't think he's going to do good. Neither one. Mike, you hush it, because this is what I do. I just speak the truth. Everybody cares that it's my birthday, because you know why? Football's on it, and it's a holiday. Duh. But if you've listened to me on Spreaker, I am live on YouTube. Come check me out. It's on Strictly Prohibited Network on YouTube. Right now, like I said, I am live. You can also find us on Strictly Prohibited Network on Facebook, and SP Network _1 is our Twitter page. Come check us out this week. Let's go ahead and move on to wide receivers. Right now, another wide receiver did get paid this week, and that was Tyreek Hill. He got a 3-year extension, $54 million. with the Chiefs. Um, so he's going to. I think he's going to show out too. It's going to be. I call him Sassy Pants, but that's not Jalen. He's going to be playing against him this week, so that's going to be interesting. But my number one this week is DeAndre Hopkins versus New Orleans. How can you not have him at number one? He's a beast. Devontae Adams at Green Bay versus Chicago was my number two, and he just did all right. He was kind of just. But my number two now, of course, is Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas versus Houston. Number three, Odell. Odell has been dealing with a hip issue. He is going to play, so that's why he's on my list. Versus Tennessee, Mike Evans, Tampa Bay versus San Francisco. Juju, I think Juju's going to have a good game. Juju on that beat. Juju on that beat. Juju on it. Juju on it. Juju on. No. Anybody dance with me? No. But I think Juju is going to have a great game. But he is going to get double teamed. So, like I stated before, if you watched my show in the previous weeks, watch out for the tight end and watch out for Washington. They will be able to get the ball. Julio Jones at Minnesota, especially after hearing that he's about to finalize a deal. If you missed it earlier, like I said, he just finalized a deal that's going to make him the highest paid receiver. They're working out the few kinks, but it is a multi-year deal extension. Think he's going to ball out versus Minnesota. Adam Thielen versus Atlanta. Tyreek Hill at Kansas City. And to round it off, I do have Tyler Lockett at Seattle. Some honorable mentions that I needed to discuss about this is Keenan Allen versus Indy. I do think he's going to, yes, I do dance to anything. You just don't, I'm a dancer. That's where Tariq gets it. My son, Tariq, gets it from. We're dancers. We find a beat and we dance. Some honorable mentions that I said, Keelan versus Indy. Also, Amari versus the Giants. Brandon Cooks versus Carolina. Stephon Diggs right now is questionable. I have not heard. It has not came out from if he's playing or not. I saw the last thing. He was questionable. Also questionable. Kiki Coutier for Houston is questionable. Demaryius Thomas for the New England Patriots is questionable. JJ Nelson for Arizona is listed. He was limited at practice, but we're seeing him. Robbie Anderson, that plays for the Jets, he was questionable, but he is expected to play. Jerron Brown is cleared for Sunday. So, like I said, Odell Beckham, like I said, he had the hip injury, but he is cleared to Sunday. Marquise Brown is will play. He plays for the Ravens, will play week 1. Mike Evans is questionable, but it's an he did miss Friday, but they do expect him to recover by Sunday. So, but it is just keep an eye on him if you have him. Right now, Diggs, what I was talking about, is dealing with a nagging ham injury that has been dealing with him all week. He's still going to be on my top 10, but you have to keep an eye on him. His whole entire injury is bugging him. He hasn't really been practicing. So, like I said, if you have him, pay attention. Pay attention. Good morning, Leroy. Hey. Do not. See, Antoine understands. Antoine, just dance. Just stay. It's a good day. It's a good day. Sorry. I found the moment and I took it. Stay away from Sammy Watkins this week. Emmanuel Sanders at Oakland. Jamison Crowder versus Buffalo. Albert Wilson versus Baltimore. And Devin Funches at the Chargers. This week we're gonna now let's move on to tight ends. If you pay attention to me in the past, you already know my tight ends are not my favorite, and it's not because they're not good. It's not because they're not, I just hate my tight end or something like that. No, fantasy wise, tight ends. If you really don't have like the top 10, maybe the top 15, tight ends are just basically bogus. No offense, but that's why I love people when playing for teams and playing in leagues that do not have a tight end position, because there's only so many. And I'm just being honest. My number one tight end this morning is, of course, Travis Kelce at Jacksonville. Number two, Zach Ertz versus Washington. George Kittle at Tampa Bay. I think Kettle's going to pick off where he left off last year. Hunter Henry, I think he's finally going to have a chance to break out this season and not get injured versus Indy. Evan Ingram at Dallas. Dallas's biggest weakness was tight ends. I don't know. We can stop the run. You can stop your wide receiver, but we could not stop the tight end. Let's see if that changes. But right now, Evan Ingram is my number 5. OJ Howard for Tampa Bay versus San Francisco is number 6. Number 7, like I spoke earlier, Vance McDonald, Pittsburgh at New England. If they double team Juju, they're going to look for Vance. Big Ben is going to look for Vance, and I think he's going to get the ball a lot. Jared Cook, New Orleans versus Houston. Delaney Walker, Tennessee at Cleveland. A lot of people have been sleeping on Delaney Walker. Stop sleeping on him. Like I said earlier before, if you pay attention, if not, go back. I broke down different weeks, different positions each week, and Delaney Walker had one of the best seasons of his career last year until he got hurt. So I think he's going to pick off where he left off. So that's why I put him at number 9. Number 10 is David Njoku for Cleveland versus Tennessee. Honorable mentions: Mark Andrews for Baltimore at Miami. Austin Hooper, another person that I have been bragging about. I think he's going to have a great, monstrous season this year. Again, last year he had one of the best career seasons last year for Atlanta. I think he's going to do it again. Eric Ebron at the Chargers. Kyle Rudolph versus Atlanta. And I had Trey Burton on here and he didn't even play. But yeah, I did put on there that he was questionable and he did not end up playing. And I think that's one of the big issues that hurt the Bears. Besides overall, I do think that was issue. Greg Olsen, I would stay away from him. TJ Hawkinson at Arizona. He's a rookie. Jordan Reed, he's still in concussion protocol. So I don't think he's going to play, but I would stay away from him altogether. And Tyler Eifert versus at Seattle. It's Tyler Eifert. I really don't have faith in him nor his injuries at this moment. So if you hate me because you're a Cincy fan and I said it, well, just blame him. I trust his backup more than I trust him. No offense, but it's just being honest. Let's go ahead and talk about some kickers. Of course, number 1 is my Greg Zuerlein. I say my Greg Zuerlein because I really do like him. If I say if you've never paid attention or never watched my show, I do call players like I like mine every once in a while. So you'll get that. You'll hear that from time to time because some people are like, mine, but you're a Cowboys fan. I'm a diehard Cowboys fan. But I respect different players that are great in different positions. And when I like them, I say mine. Number 2 is Justin Tucker for Baltimore. at Miami. You can have it either way. Justin Tucker at number one, Zerline at number one. I think both of them are going to have about the same amount of points, to be honest. Will Lutz for New Orleans at Houston versus Houston. I really think that they might be kicking the ball more than touchdowns. Just kind of bold prediction that. I know Falcons fans will like me. Mike, you better like that. I don't think they'll win either. Write that down. If you're a Saints fan, just plug your ears. But I really think Houston's going to win today. Harrison Buckner for Kansas City at Jacksonville. Michael Bagley, he was questionable, but I think he's off of it for the Chargers versus Indy. Robbie Gould for San Francisco at Tampa Bay. Brett Maher, Dallas versus the Giants. Brett Maher, all I can say as a Cowboys fan, if you miss like you've been missing in the preseason, I'm just going to drive to the Star. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say anything else. I'm just going to drive to the Star. I'm going to take one for the team with one leg. That's all I'm going to say. Jake Elliott for Philly versus Washington. And then my number 10 is Jason Myers for Seattle versus Cincy. I don't really stay away. Do you like AB as a player? Yes. Since you just came on, I do like him as a player, but do I like him as a person? No, because he thinks the team revolves around him. And we're not in Pittsburgh anymore. Some people are blaming Gruden for this. You can, because he did bring the drama to Oakland. But at the same time, it didn't matter if he was in Oakland. It didn't matter what team he was. I think this would still go down, whatever team, because there's something wrong. And I'm not saying, I don't know what it is. Me and my boys have been talking about this probably for hours this morning. Me, Mike, Dre, Dex, Phil. We have been having this conversation over and over and over. And Matt was like someone in there, and something is wrong. Leroy said he thinks it's CTE. I think that's part of it, but I do think there's other issues going on. I think there's some deeper rooted issues that we've all been saying. We just don't know. We just can't pinpoint it, because the things he does is, to me, is sad. Some people love it, but to me, it seems like it's a cry for help. It's kind of like when girls are dating the wrong guy just to get someone else's attention. That's what it feels like right now. Like he is screaming for help, but no one has, I don't know if anyone has reached out and said, hey, what does AB really need right now? Like, what does he need? Like, it's something he needs at this point, and I don't know what it is, but he needs something. And I besides some therapy, well, he is a diva. He is a diva, but that's what it feels like. It's not so much a diss. It's just, you see girls desperate for attention. That was the best thing I can think of. Girls desperate for attention, so they just date the first guy they see, and they get it. This is what it feels like with AB. The first team that gave AB some attention, look what's happening. Like I said, this would have happened, I think, with any team, but this is just, there's some deeper rooted issues that needs to be addressed. I don't think banning him for a year is going to help. I really don't. I'm going to be honest with you. Because for one, I don't know, there's going to be a team that takes him, but they're going to have some clauses in there that he's not going to like. After seeing this fiasco going on in Oakland, I'm not for sure if any team will take him without some stipulations. I'm not saying he won't get another chance, because it's Antonio Brown. His talent is amazing. But I do think he's got to have some stipulations. He's got to get help. He's got to stay off of social media. This is what one of his social media was his issue in Pittsburgh. So he has to stay off of it. But that's just my 2 cents on AB. A lot of people might not agree with me. I really don't care. To be honest, I really don't care. But like I said, I like him as a player. Antonio Brown. I loved him on the field. Patriots would be the best fit for him. And that's where I've been reading, and that's what I've been seeing. That they think he's going to Pittsburgh. I mean, they do think he's going to New England. Sorry about that. And I can kind of see it. But Belichick would have so many checks, like you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, you can't do that. I don't know if he's willing to give up certain things because he loves attention. That is his biggest issue, is that he's an attention seeker. And besides whatever's going on with Josh Gordon, Patriots have, and the Patriots kind of stay low key besides the deflate gate or whatever. But after that, they stay low key. They stay very low key. So I don't know. But I can see it working. But will he stay off of? Will he stop doing the things that he's doing right now? I just don't see him stopping. I'm gonna be honest. I don't. He, like I said earlier, he needs Jesus, help, a phone call, a friend, a glass of milk, because I don't think alcohol would make the situation any better. So milk, water, spring water, a Pepsi, something to whatever relaxes you. Social media is his worst enemy. Can I help you? Can I help you? They can't see you. Come here. You want to say hi? Hi. You say hi to Uncle Mike? Say hi. You say hi? Say hi, Uncle Mike. And everybody out there? You tell them hi? Okay. Can you go? Say bye-bye. Bye. Okay. There we go. Here you go. Thank you. Thanks for coming to see me. Okay, that's my son. If you've never seen him, that's Tariq. He comes in from time to time. He's actually standing right here eating Cheerios, so he'll probably be part of the show. But let's go ahead and talk about some defenses. Baltimore. Yeah, we're talking about football. You want to talk about football? You want to talk about football? Because I think Baltimore's defense is number one. What do you think? Yeah, you do think that? Okay. Cleveland is number two? But Cleveland plays, Cleveland's playing Tennessee. Do you not agree with that? No? What do you think is number two? Philly? Because they're playing Washington? Okay, Philly versus Washington because you said so. Yeah. But that's number two. It's Cleveland versus Tennessee. Los Angeles Chargers versus Indy. Dallas versus the Giants at number 4. I have Philly versus Washington at number 5. A lot of people have them higher. Philadelphia. If Philadelphia's defense has been looking like they were, I have to see. I'm not going to just kind of pray that they look good, but I do think they still have what they need. But defense was kind of looking iffy. Seattle versus Cincy is number 6. The Rams at Carolina, yes. The Jets versus Buffalo. Denver at Oakland, and I do have now that I lost my train of thought because my son Buffalo. I do have Buffalo at the Jets, so I have both defenses for that game. I do think that's actually going to be a defensive game. There's some couple other players that I wanted to talk about, and I think I might have talked about them, but I haven't talked about them. I'm trying to figure out if you have flex players. I was reading something the other day. If you have flex players, if you're on like Fantasy Duel or DraftKings or Yahoo Daily, if you play those and you have a flex position, because the wide receivers are PPR, you might want to put a wide receiver in that flex position. So keep that in mind if you play like any Fantasy Daily, DraftKings, FanDuel. There's so many. There's so many out there, but especially for DraftKings is PPR. So if you have a flex spot open, put a wide receiver there or put a running back that you know gets the ball thrown to them, like a Christian McCaffrey, even a Saquon Barkley, a James Conner gets the ball thrown to him a lot. Even Zeke gets the ball thrown to him a lot. So get those type players in there. But that's just one of my fantasy tips. I'm not going to give you all of them at once, but that is what happens. My son is about to get in trouble for messing with my pops. Go see Dad. Leave it alone. Yeah. You see my collection back there? Yeah, he's over here messing with it. So I'm over here trying to finish my show and talk about that. But like I said, some other good flex positions, like I said, Kerryon Johnson for Detroit. If you want to play running back, this is for your league. If your regular league is PPR, I do 3 running backs. Some people do wide receiver, but like I put in that tight end, not tight end. I put in that position. I put in a wide receiver or a running back that gets the ball a lot. I put a Juju in. I put a Joe Mixon in. I put a Julio in if I have like 2 other great wide receivers. But usually my Julio is in my wide receiver 1 slot. But just giving you just a couple pointers for when you start your lineup and how to start your lineup. Definitely look at the matchups. Look at some people just go base it off of the highest points, and you can do that too. I'm not saying that you can't, but definitely look into the defense that is playing right now. On Thursday, I had people ask, who would you start, Aaron Rodgers or somebody else? And I said, bench him. He only had 200 yards, so they're kind of happy that they benched him. I had David Montgomery. I think he got me 4 points. But the other guy had Aaron Rodgers, and he had Jones, their running back, and he only got 4 points. So I don't feel so bad that my running back only got 4 and his running back only got 4 points. It was David Montgomery. When you take a risk on a rookie, you don't know what you're going to get, especially that first week. They don't even give you a projection. If you look at it and you have a rookie in your lineup, there's probably not a projection for him because they don't know. So play at your own risk with rookies. Some of them are worth it. Like I said, I think David Montgomery would have been worth it if Chicago would have actually played a run game and not throw the ball, what I think was like 45 times from Mitch. I'd have Mitch as my backup. Thank God it's only like for 1 game. But I thought he was going to have a better season, a better game. And I do think he's going to have a better season. I think they're going to get that. They got to get that in shape because you can't be having a wide receiver wide open in the end zone doing jumping jacks, brushing his hair, and you totally miss throwing the ball to him. Like, dude, wide open. Like how I look, wide open, that's how his player looked. You cannot have that. Next week, Thursday's night game is the Buccaneers versus the Panthers. It might be another snooze fest because it's another division game. Who do I like in this game? I like Cam. I do like Jameson. Of course, I like McCaffrey. Um, I don't even know if I even like Tampa Bay's running back in this. I like Mike Evans in this game. Um, I personally might not play anybody from this game besides McCaffrey, and that's just being real honest with you. Uh, it's those Thursday night games. Sometimes you can get some. Most of the time, your points do not. You do not get the points from a Thursday night game. Now, if Christian McCaffrey is your running back, I do have him in 2 of my leagues. Um, I might take a chance and roll on it because I do think he's going to run over Tampa Bay's defense. But other than that, like I said, I wouldn't play either quarterback. I wouldn't play either tight end, OJ. I wouldn't play. So, like I said, play at your own risk with that game. But if you ask me, only Christian McCaffrey. Next week, I will be back on at my normal time, which is 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern. I did it just a little bit earlier this morning, just due to the fact that it's my birthday weekend, and I am about to go out with my mom real soon. And I wanted to watch Mizzou for a little bit. My Missouri fan Mizzou plays at 11, so I wanted to see them for about an hour before I took off. But catch me tomorrow. I um I really didn't want to be on. It's a setup. No, I'm just joking. My husband and I do a show after every Cowboys game. It's called The Chain Reaction. We'll be on YouTube after every Cowboys game. So catch us probably about one. Cowboys game is about ends about I think it's 6:30, around 6:30 ish because the noon game is 3:20. Our game is at 3:25. And thank you, Leroy. Um, so we'll be on right after. And with our reaction to the game, win or lose, we're going to be here. My husband is very passionate, more passionate, I think, about the Cowboys than I am. So just be prepared for some yelling, screaming, all that. And then on Tuesdays, Catch Red Cup Rants. They come on at 8 p.m. Eastern. They come on Spreaker every Tuesday night. Follow them. It's 3 laid back guys just talking about sports, and you can always be a guest on my show, always be a guest on their show. And you can always call into their show. I will post the 1-800 number on their chat. I'm on their promo real soon. But again, thank you for everybody that came and watched me this morning. Next week, we'll talk about week 2. And I'll recap some of the games as well. The people I'm looking for this week, of course, is Zeke and see how well he does. I'm actually looking for Dak to come out and ball out. I know it sounds a little bit biased, but he has so much hate, not just from, everybody, but there's someone in my background that doesn't really like him either. So I'm actually trying to see what he does. Besides that, I want to see what Cam's going to do. I want to see what Antoine Jamerson's going to do because they're kind of like, I feel like, on the bubble right now to stay on their team or not. Of course, I want to see DeAndre Hopkins. Of course, I want to see Barkley. I want to see what, Michael Thomas is going to do. A lot of people feel Michael Thomas is not going to do very well because he just signed a new contract. So we'll see. My husband doesn't think Zeke's going to do well this year because of the new contract he just signed. If that's the case, then if we go by what my husband is saying, then Julio's not going to do well either, and Tyreek Hill's not going to do well. Those gentlemen are signing or just signed a contract. So hopefully he's wrong. Hopefully he is wrong. But until then, thanks for everybody coming and chat with me, and I will talk to everybody next week. Peace out.